Hello. In our channel Chapter 0, listen and relax your mind. A comprehensive summary of the novel's content. Blood Meridian, or The Evening Redness in the West. Author, Cormac McCarthy. 1985. Blood Meridian, or The Evening Redness in the West is a 1985 American historical novel written by Cormac McCarthy. It is widely regarded as one of the most important works of late 20th century American literature. The novel traces the journey of a nameless adolescent known only as the Kid through the borderlands of Texas and Mexico during the 1840s and 1850s. He becomes involved with the Glanton Gang, a historical group of scalp hunters who were contracted by Mexican authorities to kill Apaches. The narrative is dominated by extreme violence, philosophical discourses on war and fate, and the looming presence of Judge Holden, a massive, hairless, intellectually brilliant man who serves as the novel's central antagonist and metaphysical principle. McCarthy's prose combines biblical cadence, historical detail, and hallucinatory descriptions of landscape to present a vision of the American West stripped of romance and grounded in bloodshed. What follows is a comprehensive summary of the novel's plot, characters, and major themes. Part 1: The Kid's Origins and Captain White. The novel begins in Tennessee in 1833. The Kid is born during the Leonid meteor storm. His mother dies in childbirth. His father is a school teacher who drinks and quotes from books but never teaches his son to read or write. The father tells him that the Kid's soul is damned already. At 14, the Kid runs away from home. He is described as having a disposition for violence and a taste for mindless killing. He has a scar on his lower lip and a mark under his eye. The Kid drifts west to Texas. He arrives in Nacogdoches, a town of mud and gambling. There he enters a tent where a man called Reverend Green is preaching. In the crowd stands a man of enormous size, completely bald, with a face like a baby. This is Judge Holden. The judge stands and announces that Reverend Green is an imposter, that he is wanted in other states for violations against children and goats, and that he has no document of ordination. The crowd turns on the Reverend, destroys the tent, and beats him. Later, Holden admits to the Kid that he had never seen the Reverend before in his life. He simply chose to destroy him. This introduces the judge's central trait: he asserts power through language and lies, and he destroys without motive. The Kid leaves Nacogdoches and travels to San Antonio de Bexar. He works at various jobs and gets into fights. He is shot in the back during a bar fight but survives. He meets a recruiter for Captain White, an American soldier of fortune who is organizing a filibustering expedition to invade and annex Mexican territory. Captain White delivers speeches about manifest destiny. He claims that Mexico is a mongrel nation that cannot govern itself and that it is the destiny of the Anglo race to rule the continent. The Kid enlists, not from conviction but because he has nothing else. Captain White's company of about 40 men crosses the Rio Grande into Mexico. They are poorly armed and poorly disciplined. They encounter a group of Mexican soldiers who warn them to turn back. White refuses. Days later, in a dry plain, the company is attacked by a massive band of Comanche warriors. The Comanches are painted for war, nearly naked, riding horses hung with human scalps and the skins of animals. The scene is rendered as an apocalypse. They carry lances tipped with human bones and kill with arrows, clubs, and knives. Captain White's company is annihilated in minutes. Horses are gutted. Men are scalped alive. White is killed. The Kid escapes with another survivor named Sproul. Both are wounded. They wander the desert without water. Sproul has been shot through the arm and the wound putrefies. They are eventually captured by Mexican soldiers and taken to Chihuahua City. Sproul is executed by firing squad. The kid is thrown into a prison with other Americans. Part 2: The Glanton Gang. In the Chihuahua prison, the kid meets John Joel Glanton. Glanton is a former Texas Ranger with a contract from the governor of Chihuahua. The governor will pay $100 for each Apache scalp and $50 for the scalp of a woman or child. Glanton's company includes a mix of Americans, Mexicans, and Delaware Indians. Among them are Louis Toad Vine, a violent criminal who once tried to kill the kid in Nacogdoches, David Brown, who wears a necklace of human ears, the ex-priest Tobin, who serves as the gang's conscience, and Judge Holden, who has reappeared. Holden is physically impossible. He is 7 feet tall, weighs over 300 pounds, and has no hair anywhere on his body. His skin is pale and he lacks brows or lashes. He is a polymath. He speaks Dutch, Spanish, and several Indian languages. He is an expert draftsman, geologist, botanist, and musician. He dances and plays the fiddle. He is also a pedophile and murderer of children. He keeps a ledger in which he records natural phenomena, artifacts, and languages. After recording them, he often destroys the object, stating that whatever in creation exists without my knowledge exists without my consent. The governor releases the Americans from prison on the condition that they hunt Apaches for him. The kid joins Glanton's gang. They ride out into the desert. The novel's middle section is a chronicle of their atrocities. The gang quickly learns that it is easier and more profitable to kill peaceful agrarian Indians and Mexican peasants than to fight Apache warriors. They begin manufacturing scalps. They attack a band of Tigers who are under the protection of the Mexican government. They kill men, women, and children. They ride into the village of Jesus Maria and provoke a massacre. Throughout these events, the judge delivers speeches. He tells the men that war is the ultimate game because the stake is one's life. He says, war is God. He argues that moral law is a fraud invented by the weak to bind the strong. He claims that the trade of war is the only trade that cannot be dishonest because it deals in death, which is the only true currency. He tells them that if God did not want them to kill, he would not have given them the means to do so. Tobin, the ex-priest, often argues with the judge. He calls him a murderer and says he has never slept. He believes the judge is a supernatural being. The landscape is described in obsessive detail. McCarthy catalogues the geology, flora, and fauna of the desert. The land is hostile, ancient, and indifferent to human suffering. Storms, droughts, and bone fields dominate. The gang encounters hallucinatory scenes, a tree of dead babies, a hermit living in an agave oven, a caravan of lepers. The violence is presented without moral commentary. Men are shot, stabbed, burned, and mutilated in spare, declarative sentences. The gang travels to the city of Chihuahua where they are celebrated as heroes. They parade through the streets with their scalps on poles. Glanton is given a new contract. But their behavior grows worse. David Brown kills a man in the street. The gang shoots Mexican soldiers. The governor revokes their contract and places a bounty on their heads. Part 3: Outlaws and the Yuma Ferry. Now outlaws, Glanton's men leave Chihuahua. They ride west toward California. They attack Mexican haciendas and steal horses. They encounter a group of Yuma Indians on the Colorado River. The Yumas operate a ferry that transports travelers bound for the gold fields. Glanton sees an opportunity. He makes a deal with the Yuma chief to take over the ferry operation. For a time, the gang runs the ferry and robs and murders the immigrants who use it. The judge uses this period to conduct his studies. He collects specimens. He excavates an Indian ruin and then destroys it. He sketches and then burns his drawings. He tells Toad Vine that the man who believes that the secrets of the world are forever hidden lives in mystery and fear. But the man who sets himself the task of singling out the thread of order from the tapestry will by the decision alone have taken charge of the world. The arrangement with the Yumas does not last. The gang's brutality becomes too great. The Yumas, led by a chief named Pasquale, attack the ferry. The assault is sudden and total. Most of the gang is killed. Glanton is shot with arrows and then has his head crushed with a rock. David Brown is killed. Many others die in the river. The Kid, Tobin, Toad Vine, and the Judge are among the few who escape. Part 4 are the desert and the pursuit. The Kid and Tobin flee into the desert. They are pursued by the Judge. Tobin has been shot in the neck by the Judge and is weak. The Kid carries him. The Judge follows them on foot, naked, carrying only a rifle and his ledger. He calls to them across the desert. He tells them he wants to help them. He says they are free agents and that he bears them no malice. Tobin tells the Kid that the Judge has been tracking them for days without water. He says the Judge is a sorcerer who does not sleep. The Judge finally confronts them at a desert well. He offers to save Tobin if the Kid will give up his pistol. The Kid refuses. The Judge says that the Kid has a flawed place in his heart because he showed mercy to a Mexican boy earlier in the novel. In the Judge's worldview, mercy is a violation of the natural order of war. The Judge leaves them, promising to meet them again. The Kid and Tobin make it to San Diego. Tobin disappears. The Kid is alone. The narrative jumps forward to 1878. The Kid is now referred to as the Man. He is 45 years old. He has spent the intervening years as a wandering laborer. He has never married. He carries the weight of his past. He travels to Fort Griffin, Texas. Part 5, Fort Griffin and the End. In Fort Griffin, the Man enters a saloon. The Judge is there. He has not aged. He is still massive, hairless, and pale. He is performing as a musician and confidence man. He sees the Man and embraces him. He calls him the last of the true. He says that the Man was the only one of Glanton's company who held back, who did not give himself completely to the dance of war. The Judge leads the Man to the bar and buys him a drink. He tells him a story about a man who kept a hotel and killed his guests. He tells the Man that he was the cause of Glanton's death because he did not fully participate. He says, "You were not some product of the age. You were the age." He accuses the Man of being a false witness to the world. The Man leaves the bar and walks to a Jake's, an outhouse, behind the saloon. The Judge follows him. He enters the Jake's naked. He embraces the Man. The door closes. The Man is never seen again. Later, two men go into the Jake's and come out looking sick. A third man enters and says, "Good God Almighty." The novel does not describe what they see. The implication is that the Judge has killed the Man, raped him, or both. The Judge then returns to the saloon. He is dancing, naked and sweating. He says he will never die. He says that he is the last man and that he will live forever. He dances and plays the fiddle and says that he will never die. Epilogue. The novel ends with a brief epilogue. A man moves across a plain. He is making holes in the ground with a tool. He strikes fire from the rock. Groups of wanderers pass by. They are searching for bones. The epilogue suggests that the work of civilization is to dig, to fence, to impose order on the wilderness. But it also suggests that this work is endless and futile, and that the bones of the dead will always be underfoot. The Judge's dance and the Man with the tool are two versions of the same principle, man's attempt to master the world through violence and through labor. Analysis of characters. The kid is the man. He is the novel's protagonist, but he is largely passive. He has no name, no history, and almost no interiority. He is defined by his capacity for violence and by his occasional, inexplicable acts of mercy. He refuses to kill a group of puppies. He does not shoot a Mexican child when he has the chance. These refusals set him apart from the judge and mark him for death. He represents the possibility of a human conscience, however weak, in a world that has no use for it. Judge Holden, the judge, is one of the most terrifying creations in American literature. He is both a man and a mythic figure. He embodies the Enlightenment ideal of pure reason combined with the savagery of the ID. He is a scientist, a lawyer, a musician, and a warlord. He believes that the universe is a war of all against all and that the highest calling is to become the master of that war. His claim that war is God is the novel's central thesis. He is a Gnostic demiurge who wants to erase the world and remake it according to his own knowledge. His hairlessness and paleness make him seem inhuman. His dancing at the end, with his claim that he will never die, suggests that the principle he represents is eternal. John Joel Glanton. Glanton is based on a historical figure. In the novel, he is a skilled killer, but he is not an intellectual. He is a tool of the judge. He has a contract, a wife, and a cat. He is ultimately destroyed by his own greed and violence. He represents the ordinary man who gives himself to war without understanding it. Tobin, the ex-priest. Tobin serves as the novel's moral voice. He was once a priest, but he left the church to join Glanton. He recognizes the judge's evil and warns the kid about him. He says the judge has never slept and that he was present at the creation of the world. Tobin believes in God, but he knows that God has abandoned the desert. He represents failed faith. Major themes: violence and war. The novel argues that violence is not an aberration in human history but its foundation. The American West is presented not as a place of opportunity but as a killing field where empires and races exterminate each other. The judge's philosophy is that war is the truest form of existence because it is the only activity where the stakes are absolute. All other activities are games. The myth of the frontier. McCarthy systematically dismantles the American myth of the frontier as a place of regeneration and heroism. There are no heroes in Blood Meridian. There are only killers and victims. The Glanton Gang is a perversion of the frontier band of brothers. They are not building a nation, they are destroying everything they touch. Knowledge and power. The judge's ledger is a symbol of the Enlightenment project to catalog and control the world. But the judge does not seek knowledge to understand, he seeks it to dominate. He destroys what he studies. This is a critique of science and reason divorced from ethics. The judge says that the mystery is that there is no mystery. For him, the world is fully knowable and therefore fully conquerable. Fate and free will. The novel repeatedly asks whether the characters have any choice in their actions. The judge tells the kid that he was called to the desert. The kid seems to drift into violence without decision. The final confrontation suggests that the kid's one free act, his refusal to kill, was the act that doomed him. In the judge's universe, there is no free will, only the dance of war, and those who do not dance must be eliminated. The indifference of nature. The desert landscape is the novel's dominant presence. It is described in geological time. It existed before men and will exist after them. Human suffering is irrelevant to it. This cosmic indifference reinforces the novel's bleakness. There is no God in the desert, or if there is, he is the judge. Style and historical context. McCarthy's style in Blood Meridian is influenced by the King James Bible, Melville's Moby Dick, and the historical accounts of the Southwest. He uses archaic diction, polysyndeton, and long, paratactic sentences. Dialogue is not marked by quotation marks. The effect is prophetic and hallucinatory. The novel is based on historical sources. The Glanton Gang was real, and Judge Holden appears in Samuel Chamberlain's memoir My Confession, The Recollections of a Rogue. Chamberlain described Holden as a 6'6", hairless man of great strength and intelligence who was also a murderer of children. McCarthy takes this historical fragment and transforms it into a metaphysical principle. Blood Meridian was not a commercial success when it was published in 1985. Its violence alienated many readers. However, critics, especially Harold Bloom, recognized it as a masterpiece. Bloom called it the ultimate Western and placed the Judge alongside Ego and Ahab as one of the great literary villains. Today it is considered McCarthy's greatest work and a central text of American literature. The novel does not offer redemption or hope. It ends with the judge dancing and the man in the epilogue digging holes. The work of violence and the work of order continue. The judge's final words, "He never sleeps. He says that he will never die," suggest that the force he represents, war, domination, the will to power, cannot be killed. The kid's death is the death of the last witness, the last man who might have said no. With his removal, the dance goes on, and the evening redness in the west is the color of blood.